Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're doing something special.
We really are.
We're diving deep into two foundational texts of Hindu philosophy, the Chandogya and Brihadaranyaka Upanishads.
Huge texts, really significant.
Exactly. And our mission, really, is to pull out the key insights, maybe some surprising facts for you. Think of it as a shortcut to understanding their core ideas.
Because these aren't just, dusty old documents.
Not at all. They're sources of timeless wisdom, stuff that can genuinely spark those aha moments, even today.
Absolutely. And we're talking about ancient Sanskrit texts here, some of the oldest, most important of the principal Upanishads.
Full of dialogues, stories.
Right. Philosophical dialogues, amazing allegorical stories, deep meditative insights. And their purpose was pretty radical for the time.
Which was?
To shift focus, to move people from just, say, external ritualistic practices towards understanding the highest spiritual truths. It was about inner knowledge.
Okay, so let's set the stage properly. The Chandogya Upanishad, what can we glean just from its name, and how's it put together?
Well, the name Chandogya is a great starting point. It comes from Chanda,
Which I had...
poetic meter or rhythm, so it points straight to its connection with the chants and songs of the Samveda. It's actually embedded right within the Chandogya Brahmana part of that Veda.
Ah, so it's intrinsically linked to sound and rhythm.
Exactly. And structurally, it's like an anthology, 8 chapters.
Okay.
And what's really neat is how it progresses. It starts with more external rituals, symbolic meditations, almost easing you in.
Like a warm-up.
Kind of, yeah. Then it gradually shifts, guiding you towards a really profound exploration of inner knowledge of the self.
That's fascinating, that journey from outer to inner reflected in the structure. So then let's turn to the other giant, the Brihadaranyaka, often seen as its counterpart, right? The Great Forest Teaching. That sounds epic.
It really does, and the name tells you so much. Brihat means great.
Okay.
Ardanyaka means forest. Think of ascetics retreating to the forest for deep study and meditation.
Right, away from the everyday.
Exactly. And Upanishad, well, that means teaching or sitting down near a teacher. So the Great Forest Teaching.
And it's old, really old.
Oh, yeah. We're talking maybe 7th to 6th century BCE. It's linked to the Shukla Yajurveda, found in the Shaitapatha Brahmana. And size-wise,
It's the big one.
it's the largest of the principal Upanishads, yeah. Traditionally studied by those seeking knowledge deep in the forests.
And it has its own distinct structure, too.
Very much so. It's typically seen in 3 main sections, or khandas.
Okay.
First, there's the Madhukanda, the honey section, which is all about the underlying unity of things, foundational stuff.
Honey, like the sweetness of unity.
Perhaps, yeah. Or the interconnectedness like a honeycomb. Then you get the Munikanda, sometimes called the Yajnakarya Kanda.
After the sage.
Exactly. That's the real philosophical core. Dense dialogues, deep metaphysics.
All right.
And finally, the Kila Kanda. This is interesting because it's more supplementary. It offers things like meditations, ethical advice, practical guidance. So it covers the whole spectrum, really. It's like a full spiritual curriculum in one text.
Wow. Okay, so we have these two monumental works, one rooted in rhythm and chant, the other this vast forest of wisdom. Is there a single unifying idea, a fundamental teaching that runs through both?
Yes, absolutely. And it's probably the most important concept to grasp. Both texts, in their own ways, converge on this core, non-dualistic idea.
Advaita Vedanta.
Precisely. The fundamental identity, the oneness of the individual self, what they call Atman.
And the ultimate reality, Brahman.
Exactly. They aren't just saying they're connected, they're saying they are the same.
And the separation we feel, our sense of being distinct individuals.
That, according to these texts, is the fundamental illusion. It's born from ignorance, avidya.
Yeah.
It really challenges you to question your basic experience of being a separate me.
Okay, that's huge. And the Chandogya, it has a specific, very famous phrase for this, right?
It does. One of the Mahavakyas, the great sayings, Tat Tvam Asi.
That thou art. Simple, but wow.
It's incredibly profound. And the way that Chandogya explains it is just beautiful through the story of the sage Uddalaka teaching his son Svetaketu.
Right, I remember that. He uses analogies.
Yes, really simple everyday analogies. He points to different pots or shapes made of clay.
But it's all just clay underneath.
Exactly, or various gold ornaments, rings, necklaces, whatever, different forms. But fundamentally, it's all gold.
And the salt in the water example.
That's a powerful one too. Dissolve salt in water, you can't see it anymore, but taste the water anywhere.
And the saltiness is there, it's pervasive.
Right. So the lesson for Svetaketu, and for us, is that this underlying essence, this Brahman, is the single reality. It's not just in you, it is you.
So the feeling of being separate is misleading.
That's the core teaching. Our perception of multiplicity and separation is the illusion we need to see through. That's the aha moment they're pushing towards.
Mind-bending stuff. Okay, so that's Chandogya's Tat Tvam Asi. What about the Brihadaranyaka? How does this great force teaching articulate the same truth? It has its own famous phrase too, doesn't it?
It does indeed. Another Mahavakya, Aham Brahmasmi.
Which means?
I am Brahman. It's more of a direct declarative statement from the perspective of the individual realizing this truth.
I am that ultimate reality.
Precisely. And the Brihadaranyaka famously introduces a method to get there, the neti approach.
Meaning, not this, not this. How does that work?
Well, it's a process of negation. Brahman, the ultimate reality, is considered beyond all concepts, all descriptions, all attributes we can possibly imagine.
So you can't say what it is directly?
Not in conceptual terms, no. So the neti method involves systematically saying what Brahman is not. It's not the body, not the mind, not the senses, not any object, not any thought.
You strip everything away?
You strip away every limited identification, everything perceivable or conceivable until what remains is that which cannot be negated.
The pure subject, the witness.
Something like that. An indescribable, infinite reality? They sometimes use the term Satchidananda to point towards it.
Existence, consciousness, bliss.
Right, but not bliss as an emotion you feel, more like the inherent nature of reality itself when uncovered. It's a really rigorous, almost deconstructive path to understanding.
Wow, okay. Two different paths or maybe angles pointing to the same peak. That is you, and I am that.
Beautifully put.
So if this ultimate reality, this Brahman Atman, is within us, how do these texts suggest we actually experience it? It can't just be intellectual understanding, right?
No, definitely not. That's a crucial point. Both Upanishads signal a major shift in focus within the Vedic tradition.
A shift away from
the Karma Kanda. The part of the Vedas focused heavily on external rituals, sacrifices, actions performed for specific results.
Okay.
Towards Jnana, which means knowledge, but not just book learning. It means direct experiential knowledge or wisdom. And also towards Dhyana, meditation.
So the path moves inward. Absolutely. The locus of spiritual practice shifts from the external fire altar, so to speak, to the inner landscape of consciousness.
And the Chandogya, staying true to its name derived from rhythm and chant, it emphasizes a particular sound, doesn't it, as a key.
It does. The very first chapter is largely dedicated to Om, which it calls the Yugita.
Whoa.
Yeah. It's presented as far more than just a syllable to chant. It's seen as the essence of the Samaveda chants, the fundamental vibration underlying all existence.
The sound of creation.
In a way, yes. Meditating on Om, understanding its deeper significance, is presented as a way to transcend the need for complex external rituals and connect directly with Brahman.
So Om is like a bridge.
It's portrayed as the source, the sustainer, and ultimately the destination of everything. It's a kind of vibrational key, you could say, to unlock that inner reality.
Okay, a sonic path inward. Now, how does the Brihadaranyaka approach this practical side? How does it guide one towards that realization of Aham Brahmasmi?
The Brihadaranyaka really hammers home that liberation, moksha, comes through Hyan, that direct, intuitive knowledge of the self. It's about knowing, not just doing.
And it uses stories or dialogues to illustrate this too.
Oh, absolutely. One of the most famous and moving sections is the dialogue between the great sage Yajnavalkya and his wife Maitreyi.
Ah, yes, tell us about that.
Well, Yajnavalkya is about to renounce the householder life to become a wandering ascetic. He wants to divide his worldly possessions between his two wives, Maitreyi and Katyayani.
Okay.
But Maitreyi asks him a profound question. She says essentially, if I own the whole world full of wealth, would that make me immortal?
A powerful question. What does he say?
He says no. Wealth can give you a comfortable life, the life of the wealthy, but it certainly can't give you immortality.
So what does Maitreyi want?
She then says, what should I do with that which cannot make me immortal? Tell me, venerable sir, of that alone which you know leads to immortality.
Wow. She chooses knowledge over wealth.
Exactly. And Yajnavalkya is pleased. He then teaches her about the Atman, the self. He explains that nothing is loved for its own sake, not a husband, wife, children, wealth, power,
Right.
but rather everything is loved for the sake of the self. All love, all desire is ultimately a reflection of the love for, or desire for, our own true self, the Atman.
So all our external searching is really a search for our own inner essence.
That's the implication. It elevates the spiritual quest above all else. making it deeply personal and showing that the ultimate value lies within, not in external acquisitions. It's about realizing that inherent immortality, not acquiring something new.
It's like they're saying the treasure is already buried in your own backyard, you just need to dig.
It's a great way to put it.
And these texts, they aren't just collections of sayings or dry philosophy. You mentioned the stories. They seem crucial to how these ideas are transmitted.
Absolutely crucial. The Chandogya especially is famous for its use of allegories and dialogues. We talked about Udalaka and Svetaketu.
Right, the clay, the gold, the salt.
But there are others too. There's the Madhuvidya, the honey knowledge.
What's that about?
It uses the metaphor of honey, how bees collect nectar from countless flowers and transform it into one essence, honey, to illustrate the interconnectedness of all things and beings with the ultimate reality, often identifying the sun as a key symbol of this unifying essence.
Ah, so another unity metaphor.
Exactly. And there's also the Panchagni Vidya, the knowledge of the five fires.
Sounds intense.
It describes the journey of the soul after death and through rebirth, using the metaphor of five fires, different stages or realms through which the soul passes. It's a complex teaching about cosmology and reincarnation.
So these stories, they make these huge abstract ideas more tangible, memorable.
Precisely. They embed the philosophy in narrative, making it easier to grasp, reflect upon, and remember. It's brilliant pedagogy, really.
And the Brihadaranyaka, the Great Forest Teaching, does it use similar techniques within its grand structure?
It does, though perhaps sometimes in a more sweeping, epic style. In the Maghu Khanda, for example, there's that famous, quite complex metaphor of the entire universe being described as a sacrificial horse.
A whole universe as a horse.
Yeah, different parts of the cosmos are mapped onto different parts of the horse's body. It's a way to visualize creation and the profound interconnectedness of everything, seeing the macrocosm reflected in the microcosm.
Another way to grasp unity.
Right. And then, as we mentioned, the Muni Khanda is packed with those intense philosophical dialogues, especially involving Yajnavalkya debating with other sages or teaching King Janaka. These dialogues themselves are dramatic and memorable.
Real intellectual battles, almost.
Sometimes, yes. They explore the nature of reality, consciousness, death, liberation from multiple angles. And then there's the Kila Khanda,
The supplementary part.
which brings it back to practical living. It includes lists of virtues like Dhamma, self-restraint, Dana, generosity, Daya, compassion. These aren't just abstract ideals. They're seen as conducive to realizing the deeper truths. It even gives advice on, various life stages and practices.
So it connects the highest philosophy back to how you should actually live your life.
Exactly. It shows the teachings aren't meant to be just theoretical. They're meant to transform you.
Okay, this brings us to the big question, maybe the most important one for listeners. We're talking about texts thousands of years old. Why should someone listening right now, in our world, care about this? What's the relevance?
That's the critical question, isn't it? And I think the relevance is profound, maybe even more so today.
How so?
Well, think about it. This core idea of unity underlying all the diversity we see. In a world that feels increasingly fragmented and divided, understanding that deep interconnectedness can offer a radically different perspective. It can help make sense of complexity.
Finding the one in the many.
Exactly. And then there's this shift they advocate from constant external seeking for happiness, validation, meaning towards inner self-inquiry.
Which feels very relevant today with all the external pressures and distractions.
Right. It's a timeless message about finding fulfillment within, not endlessly chasing it outside. That resonates deeply with the modern search for meaning, I think.
And the focus on knowledge for liberation.
That speaks directly to that fundamental human drive to understand, to know the truth of things, and the intuition that knowing can somehow set us free. Free from ignorance, free from suffering, free from limitations.
So it's about intellectual and existential freedom.
Yes. Plus, the way they teach using these stories, metaphors, dialogues, it encourages you, the listener or reader, to think critically, to question your own assumptions about reality, about who you are.
To look beyond the surface level.
Exactly. To engage with these ideas actively, not just passively accept them. They challenge your everyday perception of reality versus maybe a deeper truth.
What an incredible journey we've taken then. Through the rhythmic wisdom of the Chandogya and the vast forest teachings of the Brihadaranyaka.
It really is awe-inspiring stuff.
It really underscores how these deep dives aren't just about relaying information. They're about uncovering insights that can genuinely shift how you see yourself and the world.
Absolutely. And the influence of these two Upanishads, it's hard to overstate. They've profoundly shaped so many schools of Hindu thought philosophy, and spiritual practice.
And they continue to resonate.
They absolutely do. They're still revered, studied, meditated upon by seekers all over the world. They offer this incredibly comprehensive framework for understanding reality, the self, and ultimately the path to liberation. Timeless, really.
So let's leave you with a final thought to mull over, drawing from everything we've discussed. If, as these ancient texts powerfully suggest, the inner space of your own heart, your own consciousness, is truly as vast and boundless as the entire outer universe, and if that ultimate reality, Brahman, isn't some distant concept, but is in fact the very essence of who you are right now, Tat Tvam Asi, Aham Brahmasmi, what possibilities does that truly open up for your own journey of self-discovery? And perhaps more challenging, what ingrained limitations in how we usually see ourselves in the world does it force us to confront?